All right. Well, everyone, thank you again for your patience with me, as I am the executive director behind Illinois NORML, which is the state-wide chapter of the National Organization of Reform Marijuana Law, which works on cannabis policy reform. So we take a lot of energy and put it towards lobbying and advocating on behalf of all consumers so that they can have good quality products, be knowledgeable on how to consume these products, and even to fight for those that have been incarcerated for the terrible war on drugs. But yes, thank you again for showing up. I appreciate this, and I'm so excited to see the enthusiasm for cannabis. So we're going to talk about a couple of different topics here. I probably stuffed this presentation as best as I could. It's going to be a lot of information, which I am trying my best to educate everyone to the full capacity of what this plant medicine really could do. So if you have any questions throughout this whole presentation, feel free to stop me, because I eat, breathe, sleep cannabis. It's like in my bloodline. And yeah, I always appreciate any kind of questions you guys may have. Thank you. So I really like this quote that I found. So nature's medicine. This is right outside your door. A lot of our cultures started off with using plants as their medicine, food as their medicine. And now we've steered so far away from it. And we're seeing so much more gut issues and mental health issues and even pain that stems from this too. So why would you need this as a supplement? I always like to start with the why. Because I am a strong believer that this plant is a phytoremediator. It is a phytoremediator, but I'm a strong believer in the fact that it's a detoxer. So it detoxes our earth, our water, our air, but it also detoxes us, if you think about that too. When you utilize this plant, it is helping establish your current endocannabinoid system that exists in your body, and we're going to talk about that later on in this presentation. But it supplements that endocannabinoid system so that it could be optimized and you could feel at your best self. Your quality of life will increase from it. Now, I have to let you know that what the difference between hemp and cannabis is, really. Everyone throwing around these different terms that you may be really confused, because I know a lot of people are. Now, it all started off as marijuana and hemp years and years and years ago. Now, back in when the war on drugs started, around 1937, when the Tax Act got enacted, they started utilizing the word marijuana in a derogatory way. So now the industry has moved away from that term, and it's a term as cannabis for marijuana. Now, cannabis is basically the family of both hemp and marijuana when you look it up on the internet. So I want you guys to be clear that when you are going to a dispensary or asking anyone about cannabis, you are specifically asking for the THC dominant, the part that will get you high, cannabis. And I wanted to illustrate to you how that is differentiated. So the type 1 of this subset is the high THC, which would be the cannabis side or the marijuana side that once was. And then on the opposite spectrum is the type 3, the CBD. So in between, you have a variation of both of those. And that is where we will see most common cannabis nowadays, in that type 2, because it's going to be various ratios of those THC and CBD cannabinoids. And there's other various cannabinoids that exist too that you're going to learn about as well. Oh, this is just the same slide. Sorry about that. Now, this is the explanation of CBD being hemp. Now, so you'll see products indicate that either they are CBD or hemp. And hemp has been the new terminology that's taken and swept over all the CBD products because they are skirting the law. CBD was deemed unsafe for a while, so people started just saying that it's a hemp-derived product, which is the same thing as CBD, just different terminology. And now we switch the THC to cannabis, so that this is the clear indicator of how you can designate these products from either hemp CBD or cannabis.
Is all CBD they have any get high on? No.
So in the legal market, it's all 0.03%. So technically, no one should get high off of that, but there are people that do, depending on how your endocannabinoid system is. If it's very deficient and you're very sensitive to certain cannabinoids, it can pick up. I've seen it happen a multitude of times.
Really?
Yeah. And especially seniors and young children, they have extra sensitive endocannabinoid systems, so they will pick up on those cannabinoids even stronger. But good question. So you may have heard these references if you've visited a dispensary before. And I'm going to make it a little bit easier for you to, I can't see the couch. Well, let's see if I can move that around. There we go. So, yes. Yeah. So sativa, it starts with an S. It's sunny. It's bright. You're energetic, if you can remember that. Those are going to be the uplifting type strains that exist out in the market, and they will most likely have a citrus aspect to it because citrus is known to give us energy, just like when you get your essential oils. Now you have your indica. And indica, if you can remember, in the couch. It will put you in the couch if you have a lot of it and you can't handle it. But just know, a fun fact, if you ever have too much of any THC product, either one of these, you can take a little bit of CBD and it'll bring your high down. Now, how do you know which one you prefer, sativa or indica? It's only one way to find out. To try it out. Exactly. Oh, and one last thing about the indica. You'll often find the cannabinoid CBN, and that I like to refer to that as nighttime, CBN for nighttime, NN. And that is a sedative cannabinoid that exists in the plant. And the terpenes linalool is the basis of lavender, which will make you tired. Now, the cannabis compounds, you may have been hearing me say some of these words a little bit here and there, so we're going to deep dive into what they mean. Phytocannabinoids exist in the plant, terpenes exist in the plant, and so do flavonoids. So what are they? Well, first off, before you can even know what they are, you have to know what exists inside of your body currently, and that's your endocannabinoid system, often termed as ECS. And this is a natural system that exists inside of your body that regulates all your other systems. So whether it's your cardiovascular, your fertility, your immunity, all the systems that exist inside of your body are controlled by the endocannabinoid system. So think of it this way. Your brain needs to communicate to the rest of your body and how to regulate and operate. That communication that happens between the brain and the rest of the body, that's your endocannabinoid system transmitting it. So if that is off balance in any part of your systems, your endocannabinoid system is off balance for sure. And you will need to figure out what it is that's missing and help optimize your endocannabinoid system in life too. There are two main endocannabinoids that have been discovered thus far. We are currently still researching and finding more and more, but these are the first. Anandamide. The word ananda comes from the Sanskrit word bliss. So it's the bliss molecule. When you feel your best and your happiest, that's your anandamide going off in your body. 2AG is another molecule that exists in your body, and it will most likely happen when you're orgasming. And it goes and triggers off all your body because you feel great then, right? Yeah. So these major phytocannabinoids that I'm speaking about. So phytocannabinoids, phyto means that it comes from the plant. Endo means it comes from the body. So endocannabinoid, body, phytocannabinoid, plant. These are the two main ones that I'm sure most of you have heard about in the news at some point now. And THC is the one that gets you high. And like I was mentioning, CBD is the one that will counteract that high. And both of them are so beneficial to your body. Now, we speak about...
First time I heard that.
They are. More and more research will be coming out with that. So these are the minor phytocannabinoids. And I think that these are more even... these are more important than the other ones, to be honest with you, because these have a lot of certain conditions that they can target that are super beneficial for us. And we need to help regulate these parts of our body. So THCA is good for the stomach, gut issues that you may have. So any products that you can find with THCA, you're not going to find them in Illinois. So I'm so sorry, but we're working on that. Any of these cannabinoids, we actually don't have most of them except CBN, maybe CBG you could find online. But the other two on top, it's a rarity to find in Illinois. They are found mostly in the West Coast, as they have more leading research than we do so far here. But in the next year or two, you should be seeing more products like this. So THCA is good for the gut, for morning sickness. THCV is really great if you have diabetes. It regulates your blood sugar. And if you're having a hard time curbing your appetite or curbing sugar cravings, it's a really great supplement to have. I'm currently using it and I lost 40 pounds in the year now. Yeah, March.
One a day?
It's a little droplet of oil under your tongue. Yeah. And then CBN is a great sleep aid, and CBG is just, you can think of that as the stem cell of this whole plant. So if it's the stem cell, it has really great benefits overall for you too. But it's also known to help glaucoma. Now, these cannabinoids can actually be derived from hemp too, because they are in the same family. So you can get these online from hemp-derived producers and be able to utilize it. But some people, like myself, don't benefit from the hemp-derived cannabinoids like this. I actually have to use the cannabis side. Now, terpenes and flavonoids. Terpenes, I alluded to a little bit earlier, but they are your essential oils. Terpenes can be found in flowers, fruits, vegetables. They exist everywhere. Linol, limonene, myrcene, these are different terpenes, but they are the essence of your orange and your lavenders and your limes. I don't know all the other essential oils, but they're all there and they all participate in the same family. Now, this is something new that not a lot of people are talking about currently. COAs. What is a COA? It's a certificate of analysis, and it's going to come from a lab, a third-party lab that is verifying that your product is what it is. Does it have CBD? Does it have THC? At how much levels? What are the levels? CBD went wild before 2019. Everyone was buying it. Unfortunately, some people got snake oil because there wasn't a COA to provide with that. Some people, I've heard some wild stories of people taking CBD and their tongue turning black and then having like this hard bump on the tip of their tongue that's never going away now. That wasn't CBD. I can tell you that.
I was gonna say. Maybe LSD.
So COAs are vital. 90% of people don't know how to read them. And 75% don't even know how to ask for one. They are lengthy and kind of boring. Science, I get it. Numbers, nobody wants to dive into that. But it is super important to know that as a cannabis consumer, it is your right to ask for the COA. When you go and purchase your products at the dispensary or even online from CBD vendor, look out for that COA. Ask for it. Email them in a gentle manner, please.
When we go to dispensary, can't we assume we're getting what they're selling?
You can assume, but I went to a dispensary and asked for the COA because I saw on the menu, it's this percentage. I get the product, it's a different percentage. I get the COA, it's another number, 3 different numbers. If you look online,
Why is that important?
so if you look online, Chicago Sun-Times did a market shopping, mystery shopping. They went to, I think, 10 different dispensaries, gathered, samples from everywhere, went to a lab and got it tested to verify if this is in fact what it's supposed to be listed on that website. Turns out all of their joints in Illinois have heavy metals, higher lead amounts than you would like to have inside of any kind of product that you're going to be utilizing. The reason being is that the flower tested correctly. Whoever grew it, produced it, they did all the right things, but they got a cone from a country out of this country that doesn't have the same clean, regulations that we have in our factories, and they have lead traces that can trickle down. And this can also trickle down into your tincture bottles that you're using too.
Do all of the brands test negatively, or there's the brands out there?
If you don't want to answer, I can answer.
It's a good question. Go ahead.
Yes and no.
Not a good answer.
Here's the thing. Cannabis is a commodity. They are trying to sell you cannabis. And they will tell you what you need to know to sell you cannabis. And so going in with that frame of mind, a lot of the work that Margo was doing, what I'm doing, is to help you become a conscious consumer of cannabis. And so to that, are there brands that I would recommend? Absolutely. Off top, I can, and this is like not an endorsement, 1906 is a good brand for drops, microdosing, things like that. Arise is another good one.
I like that too.
And
Yeah.
So it's on sale.
now, I try both of these products, good products, but I do not actually go to the dispensary because all of that.
Yeah.
So this is why I recommend get your medical card so you can grow for yourself,
Mhm.
because you will know exactly what you put into your own product.
That's like the food market. You get
Exactly.
organic vegetables at home. You go to the store, you don't know where exactly.
Exactly.
Okay.
Food tastes different now. I don't know if it tastes different to y'all, but food tastes different now.
So if you guys are interested, Michigan has a caregiver program that we could potentially adopt. These are policy reforms that we could propose to Springfield. So the caregiver program is one grower that's really good at growing will grow your weed for you. And then once a month you come and pick it up and he'll give you a bag of your weed that he grew for you. I mean, he's going to keep a little bit as payment, but that's not bad in my opinion.
Really?
Mhm.
And then you have from Michigan here?
You cannot cross state lines legally.
Oh, my sister.
So if you're fasting.
Don't get yourself in trouble. It's not worth it. Not worth it at all. Just grow your own. Yeah, I'll just say that.
You're pretty growing.
It's really
It's
simple.
actually not that
Yeah.
hard. It's actually a lot more resilient than like growing vegetables. If you can grow tomatoes, you can grow.
There's a lot of resources.
Yes.
It doesn't-
Oh, yeah. There's a podcast called Growcast. You can pay a $5 membership fee and he will teach you the ins and outs that he has selected from his legacy growing underground. He's got a long history, which is very cultivated fingers to grow fine weed. It's like a fine wine.
Got some, let's see.
He can do that. He demonstrates that as well. So it's really basic to the refined expert that levels that he can show you. So Growcast is the website and podcast.
Yeah.
Cast,
Yeah.
like you're casting for fishing. Absolutely. So the CBD differences that you may or may have not noticed out there, these are the 3 different kinds of CBD that exist on the market. You have your isolate, your broad spectrum, and your full spectrum. Isolate is just what it sounds like. It's going to just be CBD 99.99% of it. Broad spectrum, everything but THC. And those are the 2 that are recommended to people that are in fear of having a drug test. Because even though the full spectrum is legal in all 50 states, it has that 0.3% of THC that could potentially stack up in your fat cells. And if you take a drug test, they give you a positive, unfortunately. But on the other spectrum, full spectrum is the best one for you because it has the full montage of everything that exists in this plant and it works synergistically inside of your body to benefit you. So yeah, you can use isolate and broad spectrum too, but it's going to probably take you a little bit more or a little bit longer to get the same effects as you would from your full spectrum. Oh, these are the same things that I put up on the other screen, but in a different way. If you want to utilize CBD, it's really beneficial for anyone that's experiencing anxiety, pain, inflammation, seizures, and much, much more. However, you do have to be in caution if you are taking any kind of medication that your doctor has told you you are prohibited to take grapefruit juice with it. If your doctor told you any kind of medication like that, then you cannot take CBD because CBD will actually enhance that drug. It'll make it stronger for you. So you don't want that if it's a blood thinner or, whatever, heart medication, not good. So we're going to talk about some methods in delivery because a lot of people have questions about this. And it is a very interesting topic because it can be applied in so many ways, utilized in various ways. And it's all about preference again. So smoking, that's your smoking of your joints, smoking of your bongs, your blunts. That means you're going to light and ignite a fire and put it against a live plant material that exists, some form. However, when you utilize it that way, you have the potential of having carcinogens. There are ways that you can avoid it, but the best options that you can go for are vaping, which is that vaporization of an oil, and also, we'll get into that a little bit later. So dabbing is another form. That is just the utilization of a rig that you use the same kind of way of vaping. And that will take effect within 5 to 15 minutes, whether it's smoking or vaping. And the effects last from 1 to 6 hours, typically. The other ways are oral consumption of either oil, my preference is the oil, edibles, or infused products too. Oils are your tinctures. So they'll come in little bottles with a little droplet in there, and you can measure out your doses easily. That is why I prefer it. Your edibles, when you ingest it, sometimes you forget you took it, or if you start thinking that it's not working fast enough, I want to take another one. And that is not the wisest way of approaching any kind of cannabis product, because if you take too much, you might feel some anxiety because it's unfamiliar territory. But always keep that CBD on hand to save you if that ever happens. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that in the couple of slides in the future. We'll get there. Thank you. So the effects, though, like I was mentioning, they don't take on right away. It could take from 30 minutes to 2 hours sometimes, depending on how your body is ingesting. If you've had food for the day, how much food, what kind of food. Fatty food will make your high last longer. Mangoes will make and enhance your high too, because mangoes have the terpene myrcene in it, and it complements it. And these effects can last you sometimes 12 to 24 hours. There is a current debate if it actually gives you a hangover or not. A lot of people are claiming that it doesn't. It's just the way that your body is metabolizing the edibles. And I lean on that side too. Edibles, just edibles. Yeah. Now this is just a cool quote that I found, because I am a strong supporter of all these infused products, but I don't believe that they should be infused into sugary products or any kind of wheat products, because that actually does the reverse for your body if you're getting it that way. But, you know, there's a market for it if you're just doing it for recreational fun, totally. But then again, we also have the kids aspect that we were trying to avoid learning them. But, you know, those are topics for different days. Here is our dosing chart. It's a simple dosing chart that I will also have a QR code for you guys at the end of this to be able to download something similar to take home with you for coming here and spending the night with me and being so patient. Set this up. So this is very simplistic understanding. When you're a beginner, you really, really want to try the least amount that you can until you get your bearings. All right. Like being the captain of a boat, really. You take a little bit of product and you see how you feel. And over time, based on those recommendations of how you're, consuming it, you can gauge it out, and you want to keep track of how this is affecting you too. Because maybe this one product is really great for you and you really want to keep using it. You got to keep track of it, because not every dispensary is going to have it in stock all the time. And you might have to find something similar along the lines of what you were trying. So having those profiles and those terpenes to be able to match to something else that exists out there in the market will be super beneficial for you. It also is very helpful if you find yourself really not liking a product too. But as always, if you're currently using any kind of medication, please consult with your doctor before utilizing this, because I would rather have you be safe than sorry.
What if the doctor is not first?
That's very good. That question. You can definitely have them or share my information, our illinoisnormal.org website with them to get educated. You can share my contact information, and I'd be happy to talk to them as well, because being a part of Illinois NORML, we are connected amongst all the organizations that exist in the state of Illinois. And we have one particular doctor or nurse, actually going to be a doctor, acute on chronic, Rebecca Abraham. She is a nurse that goes to hospitals and physicians' offices and educates them on the endocannabinoid system. Because even though it is a system that exists in our body that we've had all of our lives, we are only now teaching in medical schools about the endocannabinoid system. So doctors that have been live out in the world are not well versed in the endocannabinoid system. So please, if you have any doctors that are interested in being educated, we would love to educate them. We're getting to that too. We're working on that. It is Illinois NORML is all volunteer based. So your donations and proceeds will help us continue these efforts so that we can push for this education, but also to change for those policy reforms as well. And these are tips that thought that you guys could benefit from. So like I was mentioning, ingesting and vaping is a lot less harmful for you than smoking it. And if you're new to all this, try to stick to 5 milligrams, and really even half of that, 2.5, would be my recommendation for you until you get your bearings into it. Use that CBD, have that on hand if you ever need it. And then just make sure to read those THC concentrations on all the labels, because one cannabis product is not going to be the same as another cannabis product, as we're learning. And definitely do not mix it with alcohol. It's a bad idea.
What?
Well, all right. There's some people that are experts at it. That's a different level.
Fun one.
Now, topical delivery is an interesting concept that a lot of people appreciate, because you can take your lotions, you can take your patches, and they could be distributed through those painful areas intravenously. So over time, it just slowly disperses in your body. And I just recently saw a tattoo, remove, those temporary tattoos that you can get. They called it the cramp stamp. And you put it on your back when it's that time of the month.
Wow.
So this is me, the executive director, the advocate on all your cannabis consumer behalves. I'm also the microdose mentor. I help overworked, stressed out people like myself that are workaholics find their calm in their chaos, to really be able to harness your emotions so that you can be confident out in the world.
Where are you based?
Out here in Aurora.
You are, really? Right here?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I'm not that far. So I'm by the other library on Eola Road.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Out of the house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Out of my backpack. That's my life. No, my job. I thought you meant yeah. So I do work out of the house. I meet people wherever they're at too. And I like to go to local coffee shops, and we can chat over coffee or cannabis, whatever you prefer. These are good questions that a lot of people have. And should you take cannabis? Well, there's a lot of factors that you do have to keep in mind, such as, do you have a drug test coming up? Because that's a big no. And then medication interactions, as well as just, having the ability to approach it where you feel that you harness the resources to be able to do it safely. So if you don't feel like you have that yet, definitely use a buddy system, someone that you trust, someone that won't make fun of you if you ever get too high. Or maybe it's better because you'll be laughing with them. But definitely utilize that buddy system if you don't feel confident in it just yet. And I'm always here for you as your resource, always. And then if you have certain conditions that you're trying to treat, I can either put you in touch with Rebecca, or I can help you out too. So which product is right for you? That is all on your preference and how you keep a journal of how these products are affecting you. And to find out more info, you can check us out online at illinoisnormal.org.
You have a Facebook?
Yes, we do. And some other thoughts to add to this is how to prepare yourself for when you go to a dispensary visit. You want to bring your ID because they're going to check if you're 21 or over. And if you have a medical card, you get a discount. It's a lot beneficial here in the state of Illinois to have a medical card, because the taxes that we have here are insane, and your medical card could be paid off with a couple of visits, essentially, with those taxes. So you get a high discount if you have a medical card. You have to determine what you are treating, what kind of condition or ailment that you're currently experiencing, and really be intentional about that when you approach your bud tender. The bud tender is your clerk at the dispensary retail store that will ask you about these preferences and what you're trying to treat. And then you'll want to have a log to keep track of what products you're using. So this is the microdose mentor method. and it goes into a little bit of a dive of all these things. But I also have a little journal that you can utilize. This is one way that you can keep track of everything. It helps you really just, it spells it out for you, you know, what day, dose, product that you're using, and the methods, what you're experiencing for the day, and your pain levels if you have any. And then it's always nice to reflect or journal on a certain topic too. And I add some prompts at the end as well for reflection. But there's another journal here that could be beneficial to other people. You know, we have type A and type B, C, D. This is a weekly regimen that I really try to break down in layman's terms of how to approach CBD and THC. So you can see that there's different weeks, different dosages. It breaks it down by week and how much you should be taking. And this is the bare minimum start if you've never tried it before. The safest way that you can do it. And you can download it right there. If you're interested, just pull out your phone, scan that, and you can download that guide that I just shared with you. And I appreciate you guys all sitting here for this presentation on understanding cannabis and CBD with Illinois NORML. Thank you.